Happy Monday. Welcome to Mornings with Patricia. Well, it's been hailing today, and wow, the weather's just been crazy. Thunder and lightning this last week. It's amazing what's going on in the sky. So here it is, Monday morning again. Lucky us, huh? And today I want to talk about a wonderful tool. Uh, it's called forgiveness. It's an amazing thing for our soul to experience. And I'm going to read a couple of short stories, true stories to you, and then we're going to discuss forgiveness. So this was written by Anna Garcia on October 31st, 2013, and it's 10 extraordinary examples of forgiveness. And I'm just going to do a couple, and I've just pulled excerpts from her article. So here we go. Gary Leon Ridgway is better known as the infamous Green River Killer. In 2003, he confessed to the murders of 48 women. In 2011, Ridgway was convicted of the murder of Rebecca Marrero, bringing the victim count up to 49. By his own confession, he may have murdered as many as 60 women. Ridgway especially despised prostitutes and targeted them for his killings. At Ridgway's 2003 sentencings, the family of the victims had the opportunity to speak out and address Ridgway directly. And the time had come for Robert Rule, the father of teenage victim Linda Jane Rule, to speak. Ridgway finally showed a glimpse of remorse. Rule's words to Ridgway were, "Mr. Ridgway, there are people here that hate you. I'm not one of them. You've made it difficult to live up to what I believe, and that is what God says to do, and that's to forgive. You are forgiven, sir." These words brought Ridgway to tears. That's powerful. It's really powerful what Mr. Rule is saying, because when we live our lives according to an example or according to what we believe, right? And Jesus said to forgive 70 times 7. It is very hard to live up to that. Can you imagine? I can't imagine what Mr. Rule went through. And then for Mr. Ridgway to hear that someone had actually forgiven him. I think his soul's coming to this planet. There are some, I won't say laws, but there are some major things that when we show up as spirit with a capital S, that we're here to do, right? And it's really hard to do that in the physical form, in the physical world. Why is it so hard for us to forgive? Can you think of an example when you had to forgive someone or forgive something? I bet you remember that it was amazingly hard. And the reason why is because we let our egos get in there, right? And I don't know if I really believe in the term ego, but we let our feelings get in the way, our feelings of, wanting to be justified in our anger, wanting to, make it even, right? Make them pay. No one should treat us like that. This shouldn't be happening. But we do treat each other like that. And it is happening because we're human. But it's also humanly divine to forgive. I wonder what you're going to experience today that's going to create an opportunity for you, perhaps. It could be a minor thing. It could be anything. Let me read you another one. On October 2nd, 2006, Charles C. Roberts walked into an Amish schoolhouse armed with 3 guns. There were 26 students in the schoolhouse. He allowed the 15 boys, a pregnant female student, and 3 other adult females with infant children to leave safely, but held the remaining 15 girls captive and tied their feet together. His deranged rationale for his actions was that he wanted to exact revenge for something that had happened in his past. Notes that he left behind. Oh, here's my dog. Here's my dog, Nikki. Okay. Hi, Nikki. Notes that he left behind indicate anger toward himself and God for the death of his newborn daughter about 9 years earlier. In the face of such tragedy, One can only imagine the hurt and anger the loved ones of the victims might feel. In an extraordinary demonstration of forgiveness, members of the Amish community, including family members of the deceased victims, attended Robert's funeral and comforted his widow. The Amish community did not stop there. They also offered financial support to Robert's widow. Whew. You can't even imagine that, can you? As a community, to step forth in their belief system as a community, right? Not just an individual, but a whole community. And I think that this is what we see can happen. You're just giving me loves, aren't you? Giving me night loves, but it looks like morning loves, huh? This is what we can do individually and as community. We can bond together. We can forgive. And there's something else I want to talk about in terms of forgiveness. The actual forgiving, when you do it, it's an amazing cathartic experience for yourself. Because you see, I believe it's our real nature to love. And when we do things that are out of line with our real nature, we feel bad, we feel upset. We can have a human justification if we like, but deep down we feel a sadness, we feel a loss. And our real nature is to love, isn't it? Our real nature is to love one another. And you know what else? Our real nature is to love ourselves. And that's sometimes the other thing that's really hard, is to forgive ourselves. Because I think we really want to, I know we really want to be in balance. We want to be loving individuals. And sometimes things show up in our lives and we're not. Right? And then we have a very hard time forgiving ourselves for our actions and for our reactions. And, not everybody is going to have this understanding or realization. So as you go throughout your day, you might be open-hearted and say, okay, I'm going to forgive myself, I'm going to forgive others, but not everybody is on that same page, right? So you also have to forgive, in some ways, the journey and the experience of it, because you really have no idea why people are living the life they are, the way they are. And their soul is getting something from that too. They're learning something. So holding them in compassion, being compassionate, being loving. It's really interesting because I can think of a lot of times in my life that I didn't forgive so well. And sometimes it still takes me a while. And it also takes me some time to forgive myself that it took me so long, right? As a minister, I try to serve and be the leader that I'm called upon to be. But I think a lot of times people don't understand ministers have the same experience as everybody else. Human experience. Do you ever wonder why you chose it? I wonder what our conversation is with ourselves and each other on the other side, right? Once we cross back over, I wonder what we say. Besides, I tease sometimes like, oh, you were good, right? Besides that, I wonder when we're there and our hearts are so open and we're in our loving state, how the things that happen here may look very different, right? We might have such an enlarged consciousness, such an open consciousness that we can see these things simultaneously. I remember there's a book by Annie Kagan I often talked about, and it's called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. And he said, one of the things I just love in this book that he said, he had been a drug addict, and this is a true story, and it was Annie Kagan's brother. And so when he died, she had a hard time forgiving him because she had been there for him so much, and then and then he died. But he said, when I was there on the other side, and I'm looking at my life, and it's like this big sort of thing with all possibilities. He said, I looked at, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I looked at the pathway I took, but I looked at the other possibilities, the pathways I didn't choose that I could have, and I realized it didn't make any difference, right? Some looked better than others, but it didn't make any difference, because every path is a journey, and it's an experience, right? And we get to learn something from that. So the things that happen to us and for us, seemingly to us here, sometimes when you feel that deep, deep pain inside, and you just don't know if you can ever feel anything different. Sunday night laundry, you're going to hear that little music in the background for a second. And you wonder if you're ever going to feel anything different. You do. I remember when my dad died, and then my stepdad died, and my mom died. Each time I wondered if I was ever going to feel anything other than that terrible deep pain. And I did. It took time, but I did. When we're gentle with ourselves, when we're gentle with others, we're in that place of being in our true nature. Amazing, amazing place. And our hearts expand. And sometimes I think that our lives are a series of expansions and contractions. Sometimes people talk about this astrologically, and I believe that personally, but I also think we go through times in our lives where we're so expansive and everything's working out great, right? And we're just amazed and we're in delight. And then it seems like we wake up one morning and all of a sudden we're contracted so tight, and nothing seems to be moving or working for us. This is the universe, the expansion and contraction. We're a mirror of that. It's the microcosm and the macrocosm. So you don't have to be worried about contraction. You can see that as a cycle. You can see that as an experience that flows in and out of each other. So today, as you're going throughout your day and having all the experiences, you might just want to notice for yourself, am I in an expanded state or contracted state, right? Or, and how quickly you move back and forth between that. And then do some wonderful soul work that feeds you, like forgiveness, right? Nikki, like forgiveness. We also have a pug, and he's laying over there feeling a little left out right now. I appreciate this time with you. Nikki appreciates this time. Look over here, Nikki. Look. Yeah, okay. Have a happy Monday. Enjoy the minutes of your life that turn into hours, that turn into days, months, and years. Know everything. The good and the seemingly good and the seemingly bad. Be gentle with yourself. Forgive yourself. You know what? You are so loved. We all are. If we could really understand that, we wouldn't have so much pain or fear. But that's kind of what I'm doing with these. I'm hoping that you share them with others, and we get to wake up every morning together feeling a little bit more loved, a little bit more forgiven, a little bit more centered and balanced. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, I love myself. And I love you. Have a wonderful day.